How about now? Okay, it turns out you have to turn on the microphones to get them to work, which is like amazing. But I have a total request. Could you do something for my kids who are waiting for me back in Minnesota? Could you say all together, hello, Sophia and Owen? Could you do that? And I'll put it on Facebook, and then I'll score huge points with my wife. And that is the most important thing, actually. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. I think that works. I'll totally get some kisses when I get home, I think. So today I'd like to talk to you about leveraging local advantages when considering market entry. My name is Dave Roberts. And a little bit about myself. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Kazakhstan from 2002 to 2004, back when I was bright-eyed and naive and teaching English, ecology, and chemistry on the steppe near Karaganda. And after that, I earned my international MBA from the University of South Carolina Moore School of Business. And later on, I founded my own business, The Other Side of the Tracks. And I've been working with companies in the Commonwealth of Independent States and the Baltic States and other very tropical locations like Costa Rica. So, but I do actually have a very special connection to the Baltic States. When I was living in Tallinn in 2012, my son Owen was born there. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I should repay the hospitality that the people of the Baltic States showed me by helping them come to America. So why on earth would you want to come to America? And I think if you're attending an event like this, you know, the Silicon Valley comes to the Baltic States, you might have a few ideas, but I'll spell them out just to be clear. We are the world's largest economy, and I'm not counting the European Union, because until you guys get a common European treasury, it doesn't count, I'm sorry. But we are almost 5 times the size of the largest economy in the EU, Germany. So that means we actually have a lot of income to spend on things. So things that typically become popular in the United States often become popular in the rest of the world, like our popular culture, like The Simpsons, or iPads and iPhones. So while it may make sense for a company in the Baltic States to try to enter next the largest economy in the European Union, Germany, the strong cultural ties and the trade links will actually make it, if you enter the American market first, it'll probably go to Germany next. And I will say that the country of origin effect for the Baltic States in general, as far as I've seen, is either neutral to positive. But I kind of think personally that it should be much higher, because in the American political mythology, we think that the Cold War ended because Ronald Reagan rode a Tyrannosaurus Rex through the Berlin Wall and came crashing down. But the reality was it was a combination of internal and external factors. And I think a big part of it was Baltic Way and the singing revolution. So I have to say, if more Americans were aware of your role in bringing about world peace, your country of origin effect would be much higher. I should click the button. We have a great relationship with the EU in general. Visas are no problem. I just showed up and they stamped my ticket. Annual trade is astronomical. Transatlantic trade is huge. It's record-breaking. And we have great cultural links. We have a lot of the same religions. Some of us all speak English. Many Americans are actually Europeans, so we're best friends. We should be friends. English is the lingua franca of international business, and it is the language spoken by most Americans. So basically, if you make your marketing material geared towards an American market, you're going to be understood by businessmen in Finland, in Japan, and Germany, China, and if you're really lucky, England. That was a joke, but, you know. Wah, wah, sad trombone. But I'm going to tell you, you should actually stay in the United States, or stay in the Baltic States. And I'll tell you why. It's cheap here. In the United States, you're going to find that the rent cost is extremely high in places like San Francisco, New York, and Los Angeles. Whereas I've been told, like as of last night, by some people here that they pay almost $200 a month in rent. Well, you're going to pay a couple $1,000s a month in rent. In fact, we even have like a political party. It's kind of a joke that the rent is too damn high party, but to draw attention to the fact that living costs are so high. But also we have a healthcare issue in the United States that hopefully some new laws will take care of it, and I guess only time will tell if it actually works, but your out-of-pocket expenses for your healthcare is going to be much, much higher than it is here. And having, having had a child here in the Baltic states, I can tell you, you guys have pretty good healthcare for a good price. So this is your home. You know how to do business here. You know the ins and outs of it like the back of your own hand. Coming to America is going to involve some adjustment. You're going to have to find out who you can trust. And you may even go through some culture shock. I've been through culture shock several times, and I've survived, as you can tell. And you're going to have to deal with some staffing issues. As I mentioned before, it's much more expensive to work and live in the United States, so your employees are going to expect a higher salary. So a developer here in Lithuania is going to cost a fraction of the price it would cost in San Francisco. So on one breath, I said, you totally have to come to the United States. The next I said, stay here. But what I'm actually trying to tell you is to do a quasi-smart entry into the United States. Because until you've reached a few factors in your startup, which are outside of the early to mid stages, you really shouldn't even consider physically coming to the United States. So if your product is unspeakably cool, like it's the next Skype, then yeah, come on over. If you have established revenue streams that can support that, or you have an investor who actually supports the move, then yes, please come over. That's more later stage though. And honestly, if your product is unspeakably cool, the next two are going to come shortly thereafter. So patience, my friends. But I'm hoping that I can give you some hints to approach some barriers to entry that'll help keep your costs down, will help you establish brand credibility, and ultimately find success in the United States and the rest of the world. There are some barriers that are huge, some of them as wide as the Atlantic Ocean. It's a big lake. And after several flights and some time zone changes, I find myself here speaking. And I have a little tip for you guys that maybe parents or want to be. If you're going to do transatlantic flights, Turkish Airlines has the best baby bassinets, so keep that in mind. These are some essential communications that will definitely help you bridge that gap. Skype, if you don't have a Skype account, just stop what you're doing right now and please create one. But so frequently I talk to new clients who are like, oh yeah, Skype, I've heard about that. I should totally create an account. I'm like, oh, yes, please create Skype. That's just simply how international business is done. The video chat, the screen sharing, the document sharing, it's awesome. Dropbox, I've been using a lot because you can share a folder on your desktop and then through a series of tubes called the internet, it will appear on somebody else's computer. Google Docs, awesome for collaboration with presentations, spreadsheets, and documents. Recently, I've been using a lot of Bitrix software with clients because it involves collaboration, sort of like a social network within the corporation. You can post, you can like. It's a great way for operations and marketing to keep track of each other, and the executives can keep things up to date. And more often than not, I have been saved by Join Me, because after Skype's screen sharing option fails because too many people are involved, Join Me has come in and saved the day. But there's probably a lot more, and I'm sure that you guys are using them, and I'm sorry if I forgot your favorite ones, but I would like to say I'm not getting any money from the people that from any of these companies, but if they are in the audience and you would like to buy me a beer, wink, I'm okay with that. But I'm hoping that you guys will continue developing these communications technologies that will make life much easier in international business more facilitated. But the best way to cross over the Atlantic is actually to have a staffer in the United States running the show for you. And these are some of the sites that I recommend for recruiting staffers. LinkedIn, basically anybody who's worth talking to has a LinkedIn profile. But if you have a company, you should create a special page for LinkedIn because I think that helps establish brand credibility. And you can use Monster and Hot Jobs. And idealist.org is great for recruiting, as the name implies, idealists. And if you go to their section about international relations, you will find a whole plethora of candidates that want to work with you simply because you're not in the United States. I use Writer Access for copywriters and freelancers. Excellent stuff. And I say headhunter because I would say your own local recruiting websites, because there are people that are actually monitoring those sites and looking for key terms like native English, and they'll definitely submit an application to you and want to work with you. So how should you compensate these people? Well, a salary is great if you have a lot of money. See, popular culture, everybody gets that. If you can afford it in your later stages, that's super, but most people can't in the early stages. But equity is great. I like something called sweat equity, where in exchange for the labor that they're providing for you, they get a percentage of your company. And that means that they're going to be more loyal to your company and work harder because their success is tied to yours. Commission is good if your product is already ready for market. And then you're just simply, they're going to be selling it, and you'll get a percentage. Freelance relationship is wonderful if you want to check out how they're going to work first. And it's great for copywriting. I kind of have some misgivings about internships overall because I think they have a tendency to backfire. And the reason I say that is because, one, you get what you pay for, and you're going to train these people, and it's wonderful, but a lot of times they don't feel like they've been compensated very well, and sometimes they can actually turn around and burn you online. So I would tread cautiously with that, and always respect your interns. This is how I deal with a time zone change. I have an online calculator that tells me when meetings are supposed to be going on, and I keep multiple clocks with, I have probably 5 clocks in my office with different labels. But at night, you're going to have to turn off your phone because there are going to be people that feel like they have to contact you in the middle of the night all the time with some sort of emergency, and it turns out it really could just wait till morning. But in their time zone, it's the middle of the day, so whatever. But caffeine is going to become your best friend when you're doing international business. You are going to have the late meetings in the early mornings. And I drink coffee, but I guess the kids drink Red Bulls, so that's fine. If you want to do that, then maybe go a little crazy, fine. It's fine. Obviously, there's a language barrier. And I'm just going to tell you straight out, you need to study. You better hit the books. Study, study, study. But there are lots of local organizations that can help you out with that for teaching English as a foreign language. And I would totally suggest you take like an extra class, like maybe an hour a week. I mean, study. If you haven't been studying, speaking fluent English, then you need to be working on that if you're going to do international business. And marketing material has to be done in understandable English. And I recommend native English, because a lot of these English teaching organizations, you can also find copywriters that are there. So they'll do freelance stuff on the side if you don't want to go through one of the websites I suggested. So you make sure that pay $100 or even less, and get your website done in native English, do your business plan in native English, and make sure your pitch speeches are totally understandable with all the right English articles in their pesky places. And people keep asking me if they can actually use a web translator. And the answer is sometimes. If you're going to use it and then get some sort of gibberish that maybe the copywriter can then translate into something pretty, then yes, you can use a web translator. It can be done. There are some cultural barriers to the United States. And whenever I hear somebody with a foreign accent speaking a lot of slang, I'm always impressed that they've studied so much, and it's wonderful. And a lot of times they throw in some swear words, and that's funny to me, I guess. But if it's going to be in your marketing material, that's a big no-no. Recently, I've actually been approached by people that actually have American swear words in their titles of their business, and they're like, well, if you think it's that word, why would anybody want to invest or buy it? And frequently I've found, especially out of Eastern Europe, is that there are staff members that are also sexist and racist. And they may be very talented developers or whatnot, but if you have people coming to see your company, investors or clients or even me, Please, stuff a sock in their mouth and put them in the broom closet for the duration of that visit. You don't need them representing your brand. And always pay attention to the current events. Because sometimes if you want to use explosive metaphors in your marketing material, and maybe there was a terrorist attack recently, that's going to be a huge faux pas. And above all else, please be confident in yourself. You're doing something that's never been done before in history, and you're inventing things. It's just truly amazing. A lot of you all have a sense of humility and being humble, and that's super because it's part of your culture. But when you come to the United States, that sense of humility may be interpreted that you don't actually believe in yourself. So please, be proud of yourself. You deserve it. Your location is going to necessitate having a very bare-level internet marketing campaign. And I realize we could probably talk for hours on this, but we'll just go through the very bare minimum that you have to have. Your website needs to be in native English, so hire that copywriter if you can for a few $100, maybe. And make sure that all the keywords that are related to your industry are well represented on your website. It helps with SEO or search engine optimization. Visual effects, I'm a huge fan of the parallax effect, and it actually caused my website to crash recently, so if you've tried to come visit me, I'm sorry. But the visual effects are not nearly as important as say, the keywords and describing your product adequately. I would stay away from Flash if you're going to do animations due to the problems with mobile platforms, so in HTML5 it's better. And make sure your contact information is easy to find, and if you're going to use one of those darn submission forms, make sure it's not bugged. And once again, hire the copywriter. It's worth it. I love blogs. I used to blog myself back in the day. It's great. You can use it to reach out. That's me, actually, a little different. I gave up smoking, changed, but with that connected to your website, you can actually use it to upgrade your search engine optimization because more key terms are going to be out there. And it's a valuable tool in your arsenal, frequently overlooked. I can't mention internet marketing without social media. Create a Facebook page for your company. Do it, if you have a startup, just do it now. Get your mom to like it, and after 30 likes, you can actually get the statistics involved. You don't have to update it regularly. Just make sure it's there so you can use it as an outreach tool when you're ready. I like YouTube and Vimeo because free hosting for videos, but best of all, when you put the keywords in the description on the videos, it's going to come up higher on search results. So your commercial will come at the very top of Google. And if anybody could tell me any use for Pinterest, could you talk to me later? Because I have no clue. Just kidding. It's good for links and putting up some marketing material. But recently I was actually told that nobody's tweeting, which is interesting because Twitter is making a lot of news recently for their big IPO. And I would say that everybody's tweeting, so that means you need to tweet. And some hipster once told me that because everybody is tweeting, then we shouldn't be tweeting, and I was just, no, you should be tweeting. You need to do that, yeah. But coming to the American market is going to be a process, and I hope you take it a step at a time. Be patient with it. If you have a great product, it'll come to you. But I hope that these simple hints can help you establish brand credibility, keep your costs low, and ultimately find success throughout the world. So I offer you happy hunting and good luck.
Thank you so much. We have a better present than we gave the previous people, so you're going to find a lot of stuff inside. This is from Enterprise Lithuania. Thank you so much for coming.
Should I throw this? Or
no, not this, not this. So you might. No, but you're still getting a Frisbee, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
I did used to play Ultimate Frisbee in college,
sure.
So.
Whoa! And the lucky person is, please stand up. You're getting coffee with David.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.